Well, good morning. We are here at this press conference to talk about the repair work that's taking place on the 48-inch transmission line that comes from OB Curtis. This portion of the transmission line actually dates back to the 1990s, early to mid 1990s. As with all large diameter pre-stressed concrete pipe, maintenance is a challenge. So there's a significant need based on the leaks that are present to make this repair. So we have basically contracted, of course, two separate contractors to work on the three leaks that are active at this point. And we've taken these precautions to be able to handle the leaks at one time, minimizing the impact. That's the goal. We did conduct a stakeholders meeting last week so that we would be able to determine some of the impacts that may have been missed in the previous outage, and therefore try to do our best to plan to mitigate any issues that we would see. So basically what we're looking to do at this point, we will conduct a planned outage on this Friday, March the 10th, beginning around 3 p.m. We expect that outage to last until approximately 3 p.m. on March 12th. During that period of time, the contractors will move in, begin doing the work to repair those leaks and get everything back together so that we can get the water back online on Sunday as planned. What we would like to say about the area affected, basically if you experienced any issues on February 10th when we conducted the last outage, we expect that you will more than likely see issues this time as well. And those issues obviously will be no water and then possibly low pressure. So as a result of that, once system pressure is restored and service is back on, there will be a boil water notice issue for the affected areas. And we expect that those notices should be cleared after the normal 48-hour testing period. In order to get further information throughout this process, we are continuing to encourage all of our customers to sign up for Code Red, as that will be one of the best ways to stay informed. Next, I'm going to turn this over to our emergency manager, who is Deputy Chief Brandon Falcon.
Good morning. My name is Deputy Chief Brandon Falcon. Brandon like the town, Falcon like a bird. So we can get the spelling correct. We have had a, for lack of a better term, we had a dry run about 3 weeks ago. We have some known factors that we're going to be able to be prepared for. We have the same thing that Director Smash just said, that if you have experienced difficulties last time, be prepared to experience similar or zero water pressure at this juncture. We have set up three distribution points for water. One will be Precinct 1, which is Cooper Road, Precinct 2, Metro Center, and we will be setting up a water distribution point on the West Street side of Memorial Stadium on the university campus. As far as our firefighting capabilities, we have reached out to our mutual aid agreements. We are business as usual. One thing the fire department has done since our incipient stage of 1904, we've managed to move water well. We are not unknown to moving water long distances in water main breaks and all of that. This is just going to be business as usual on the firefighting side. So any issues or errors or omissions or anything on the fire side, we're 100% ready for that. Emergency management side, because we have the known factors, we've reached out to our partners. We've set up logistics meetings within our staff. Matter of fact, this for the last 2 weeks, this has been the only conversation that we've had. We are reaching out to people that that wouldn't necessarily be a stakeholder to give us different caveats in the way we think to make sure that we don't have any holes in our system. And we are more than uh, we are more than willing to accept any outside perspective on that to get to where we need to get. I do highly recommend that in any of our messages that as we go forward, the 311 system is the call and reporting for citizens to call and report outages. We will be checking that on the weekend. The code red system. I cannot stress enough on people starting today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever you have time, get on the city's website, sign up for Code Red. We will be pushing out messages all weekend long as far as status updates, where we're at, the availability of our water resources, any other information that we find pertinent to our stakeholders. At this time, I'm going to let Dr. Kidd talk about our outreach program.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Adrian Dorsey Kidd, the Director of Human and Cultural Services. In addition to all of our constituents, we will be focused on making sure our more vulnerable adults population is taken care of. So we have a plan in place to make sure water is distributed to our seniors as well as our disabled persons. We will be primarily at the Metro Center spot for pickup, drop-off, and I have a number here. If you have a family member who can't come out to pick up, we'll make a drop-off availability. You can call 960-0335 and just say I'm calling concerning the water. We have people on board ready to take your information, and we'll make sure we get the water to those vulnerable adults in aging populations. At this point, we'll take questions just about the water outage.
Regarding the water distribution, doctor, hang on, I know you want to get far away from that microphone. I don't blame you. How's that going to work? Are you going to have bottles people can pick up? Is there a certain amount they can't pick up? Stand up there, please.
We're going to have bottled water. At this point, we are going to try to give out a case per person.
So on her outreach program, they're going to be doing a home delivery for that part of it. On our 3 distribution points that I spoke to earlier, which is the Precinct 1 at Cooper Road, Precinct 2 at Metro Center, and the west side of the stadium, we are going to have, we have not, we don't have a finite number of cases that we have bought yet. We are still in the having a determination on how much total volume we have, but we are going to limit it to 1 case per person. We are going to be taking information as opposed to just randomly giving it out. We're going to have our volunteers there. It's going to be in an organized fashion where when you show up, present your name, we're going to give you a case and go from there.
Do you have an estimate of how many customers will be directly impacted by this, boundaries and people?
Yes, we do. According to, and our known factors on that are the last water shutoff. We are blowing up the actual affected area, but we are telling people from Northside Drive to 55 to 220 on the northern boundary, all the way to, it comes kind of a triangle. It goes down 55 and then it goes around 220 and it comes to Byram. So the Forest Hill area of South Jackson is on its own well system. They're not as affected. But the majority of the affected area will be Highway 80 and south.
Number of people, households that are impacted.
We have, I got my numbers from MEMA, so I don't know this to be a fact, but 40,000 is a rough estimate.
Customers or households?
Customers.
Do people need to show ID when they pick up the water?
At this juncture, no. That may change, and if that does, the information will come out. I don't know how to mandate a ID process at this time.
Will this impact the St. Patrick's Day stop? Is that this weekend?
That is next weekend, I believe. It should not affect that.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
1 case per person per day, or impact the 1 case just a little bit?
We're hoping that one
Okay.
case would be just the pickup.
Okay.
What are the hours?
That's what I was just fixing to do. The hours on Friday will be from 12 to 6. On Saturday will be 8 until we run out of water. And that's at those 3 points.
What about firefighting? How will that work? Will you guys be using tanker trucks to bring in water if you need them for
All right, so we have a lot of avenues on that, and I'm glad you asked it specifically like that. Each one of our apparatuses carry 500 for the smaller ones, up to 750 gallons per truck. What we have done is institute lack of a better term, a second call. We normally respond 4 to 5 apparatuses per working fire. We're going to automatically respond a third pumper, which is an engine company. So we have extra personnel from within our ranks coming. We have our mutual aid agreement with Hines County, which has all the tankers for the rural area, and we've talked to all of the surrounding departments that are county based. University of Mississippi Medical Center has 5 wells on site. One of the wells they have put a fire department connection on so that we may extract water from that directly. And as I said, fire department is really astute on moving water. That's not going to be an issue for us.
My question is for Mr. Smash. This is like the 3rd break on this line in the last, since 2012. And you talked about maintenance. Is there anything you can do to make sure the rest of the line is holding its integrity?
So again, with pre-stressed concrete, you don't have a whole lot of options if you've got issues, and then those repairs are significant, so they will usually require major construction in order to be able to do it, to go in, cut out section of pipe, put in a replacement pipe. So when the decision was made, some time ago, decades ago, to actually go that route, that's just one of the issues that the city is going to have to, kind of work through.
How do you do maintenance on it and check that pipe is good all the way through?
Well, ultimately, what you're going to have is, because a lot of it is buried, you're not going to be able to know and tell. Our maintenance aspect is going to be what we do with our valves in the area, exercising those, and actually making sure that we're able to make the repairs by making shutoffs if we have to make the repairs. And I think that was some of the issue that we incurred. We wanted to make sure that we're able to access it and we're able to get the repairs done. You run into a little bit of a situation when you have a longer span of pipe, but you don't have access points. And so that's what we've kind of gotten into, and we're trying to man that. And also some of the planned access points, again, being kind of underground or having the bulk of, the stem of the valves to be underground, essentially like a screw section. There's a lot of wear and tear that goes on there just in not being exercised, not being moved, maybe not necessarily even having lubrication. So over time, it gets to be difficult. So when you need to get to it in a pinch, it can cause you a problem. And so that's some of what we're hoping to get away from. There's some things that we're trying to work through with this repair that hopefully will help us not to have these same significant issues should we have leaks in the future. I think the understanding has got to be this, again, with that type of material, just, as in general, you've got a life cycle that's going to be on any of your infrastructure. The expectation is going to be it's not going to last forever, so you're going to have to make repairs at some point.
Well, the 3 breaks all at the Forest Avenue.
So they're in a basically within a span of roughly 3 miles. Forest Avenue is part of that, but they are all basically parallel to I-220.
Can you give a marker regarding the other 2 breaks? The Forest Avenue is one, or the other 2?
So one is on the south side of that break, and then the other one is on the north side. Like I said, all within like about a 3-mile span.
Are they leaking water to the extent of the one near Forest Avenue?
Not all to that extent, but again, just having them, all going at the same time is gonna, it's causing a little bit of a drain on our system in terms of the capacity that we have to put out to overcome that. Not to mention just having the leaks going unchecked is going to be an issue as it is in any circumstance.
We're losing more than 40% of our water that's coming in right now because of these open breaks.
So these breaks will naturally contribute to the perceived water loss that we have based on all of the information that we can tell. Now what we're able to do is we can ramp up or we can lower production just depending. What we try to just do is maintain the proper line pressure, and that's kind of how we run. So It certainly is not helping our cause to have the, leaks go unchecked. So we definitely need to deal with it.
We're at the range where we're losing 50% of our water now.
We don't think it's that high, but we don't have anything conclusively to tell us
We
that.
were somewhere in the range of 40% before this started, right?
Well, yeah, we've been in the range of 40%. From my records and my information, going back to like 2011.
How much does that cost?
We don't have a value that's placed on it at this point.
Are you advising businesses that use rainwater to close midday on Friday and not open on Saturday? How is that one?
No, now we did take a lot of questions from the stakeholder community, but basically what we're advising is if they're able to even stockpile enough water to work, when we do the shut off around that time, the system won't immediately go to zero. So they should have the ability to do that. And then once we get to a certain point and threshold where we know that the pressure has dropped below the safe point, we'll also issue boil water notices for that.
Can you tell us about the contractors who were brought in to do this work, and also some of our viewers are asking for information?
Okay. Only thing I can speak to that, we have Hemp Hill Construction and also utility constructors.
How much is the electricity?
Right at this point in time, we don't have all of that clarified because there's additional work that's going out. So as soon as that gets addressed, we'll deal with that. So the initial contract, well, again, we'll kind of talk through that as we get everything taken care of, because what we do have is changes from what has occurred. So I really don't want to put that number out there until we get everything kind of quantified.
And when will that be?
Hopefully after the repair. Very shortly thereafter, we'll start to get all of our information back in to make sure of what was necessary. Because again, we've made some changes that we think long term are going to help us to not have to deal with this type of situation again.
What are the chances this repair could take longer than 48 hours?
Based on our preparation and plans, it should be a very minimal chance of that happening. That's also the other reason why we came up with 2 contractors doing it. It definitely would have stressed either of the 2 of them to have to do it independently, but we think combined the resources that are available will be more than enough to get that satisfied within that 48-hour time frame.
Who was impacted in the 55 corridor that you mentioned around the north side? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So the last time, basically, a lot of our numbers, and again, they're not fully confirmed, but we're going off of 311 data. So we did have calls that were out of the area that we kind of expected to be impacted. Some of those were from other leaks that did occur at the time, and some of them were due to other issues. We do have a couple of situations where elevation is an issue for getting water pressure. And if we're taking pressure off of certain lines, it can cause an issue. But we have to, kind of recognize that what we would expect to happen is the eastern side of the city should be in pretty good shape, even going down. And we also have the well system, which does go down into Byram. It does cover portions of South Jackson. So that's why in the last event, everyone in those areas was not without water. And we expect that to be the same this time.
Reporters, we have time for one more question. We have to start another meeting related to this.
Back to his question, where's the line?
That's your last question?
I would like to finish with a statement. On preparedness side, call to arms, 1084. If you would like to volunteer or donate water or anything that would aid us in our cause on making sure that our fellow citizens and our brothers and sisters are taken care of, that 1084 number, or call Dr. Kidd's office, Human Cultural Services. Second part, things that citizens can do to aid in getting through this next weekend. Stockpile water by either going to the store, buying your own bottled water, filling up your bathtub if you need water to flush your commodes, 5-gallon buckets, of any way that you can conserve bulk water to assist you in the hygiene aspects of it. Those are very important in helping us help ourselves get through this thing together. I can't stress enough, the volunteer on call on the 1084, and if they wanted to donate water or bill,